You need to start a YouTube channel even if nobody watches. Now, this is my 1,000,000 subscriber plaque. Just got it in the mail. And the way my YouTube journey started is over 10 years ago, I needed a place to store videos from this game I played called RuneScape. And so I started storing videos on YouTube because it seemed like a good place to store videos. And at the time, I didn't even have a phone. I didn't even have my own computer. So I just went to the local library, as a kid, going to the local library, I'd play RuneScape, and I would download, against the rules of the library, this screen recording software. And I would just record my screen playing RuneScape, and then I would upload those videos to YouTube. And at first I was just doing it just to store the videos, but then I started thinking like, oh, maybe I can edit these videos a little bit. And so I also downloaded, against the rules of the library, video editing software. And I started editing the videos and then putting a little bit of music on it and stuff like that. And I started uploading those to YouTube. And of course, I got basically 0 views. I mean, maybe a few views from my friends and my family and people at school or whatever. And basically, I got 0 views. But what ended up happening is I learned really important skills, not only from the game of RuneScape, but from uploading these videos to YouTube and editing them. I learned, of course, how to edit, but I also learned how to create a thumbnail and how to, make it attractive to other people so that they would click on it. Even though I wasn't that good at it, I learned all these skills. And then later on down the line, I remembered back to this time and how much fun I had editing, right? How much fun I had creating these videos and then uploading them to YouTube. And the sad thing is the channel actually got banned because I didn't know it at the time, but I was uploading copyrighted music. And so they banned my videos, and the channel got banned. They thought I was a spammer, basically, because I didn't know any better. I was a kid. But I learned so much from this experience, and I remember how much fun I had uploading to YouTube. And then years and years later, when I was trying to figure out how to make money online, I remembered back to this and I thought, you know what? I've pretty much grown up on YouTube. I've learned just about everything from YouTube. I learned a lot more from YouTube than I ever learned from school or really any of the things I've done. YouTube was basically almost like a second parent to me. And I also remembered how much fun it was editing those videos. And so what did I do? I started a YouTube channel and I started actually taking it seriously, treating it like a business. And that is what led to this, right? That is what led to me being able to start 2 successful 7-figure businesses from my YouTube channel. But let's kind of take this back a little bit. What stopped me from uploading to YouTube for years was common fears, like, what if nobody watches? What if a lot of people watch and then my family finds out and my coworkers find out and my schoolmates find out and they make fun of me? Or what if a lot of people watch and then they comment really rude comments? I get canceled or something, right? So I had all of these fears, and I realized now that these fears are pretty much unfounded, because if you upload a video and then nobody watches, then nobody watches. Who cares, right? It's not a big deal. You got to upload a video. It's fun making videos. And if you upload videos and then people watch, well, you might have just started a business for yourself, right? So chances are people are watching because they're either entertained or they're educated, right? You're solving problems for them. And either way, you can figure out how to monetize your channel. Right? If you're getting views, you can figure out how to actually make money from those views. And so it can turn into like a little side income stream, or it can turn into a full-blown business, or even multiple businesses like I've done. Now, the reason you need to start on YouTube, even if nobody watches, is one, you can just treat it kind of like a video diary where you get to document your journey. So you can just turn on your camera or even just your phone. Like you don't even need a camera. You literally can just use a phone. iPhones, for instance, are phenomenal now. Like you basically don't even need a professional setup anymore. The sound's really good. The video's really good. You don't even need lighting because it just automatically adjusts to the lighting. And you can just basically treat YouTube like a video diary. And that's a lot better than a normal diary because you get to look back and see your progression. And it's really amazing to be able to see that, like looking at myself a few years ago, I was a lot skinnier, right? So I gained a lot of weight since then. And, I look at myself back then and I didn't know how to talk on camera at all. I still am not that good at talking on camera, but, yeah, you just get to see your progression. You get to see like the mindset you were in at certain times and how much you learned at certain times. And sometimes you look back and it might be a little bit cringe, but that's how you know that you made progress. So it's a great video diary, which is much better than a normal diary for you to look back on your life. And, maybe your family at some point in the future will be able to look back on that and see that, we're struggling with the same things that they're struggling with. And it can be really like a great learning lesson for them. And it's also a creative outlet. So making YouTube videos, even if it's just a simple video, chances are over time, you're going to have an urge to make the videos better. And you're going to be able to start creating things. And it can be a lot of fun, obviously, to create things. So it's a great creative outlet. And then the third thing is you start to build a personal brand. And the thing about a personal brand is it's basically the most powerful thing in the world right now, because like the richest man in the world has a personal brand, Elon Musk, and he started a bunch of billion-dollar companies from his personal brand. But even at a lower level, a friend of mine, for instance, just started posting stuff on his YouTube about how to use different IT-related technologies. And because of this, he was able to get job offers at 2 different FANG companies. So if you're not familiar with FANG, sometimes they call it FANG, sometimes they call it Manga, because Facebook changed to Meta, so now it's called Manga. The thing about these FANG companies is they're unbelievably difficult to get into. They're probably harder to get into than like Harvard, right? And he was able to get 2 different offers from 2 different FANG companies because of his personal brand. He had a small following on YouTube, and because of that, he was able to use that to get offers at these 2 super exclusive companies. So it can help you. And he didn't have that many views either, right? It was just useful content. And, they saw his application and, he was networking with people and they looked at his YouTube channel and they're like, oh, this guy's really cool. And then he was able to get a job because of that, right? Because he's like, oh, this is creative. It's super helpful. He's demonstrating that he's good at this thing and he's demonstrating his expertise. And he was able to get a job from that. And so it's just unbelievably useful whether or not you try to make money from it or not, both indirectly and directly from a money-making standpoint or a networking standpoint or just a personal development standpoint. It's incredibly useful. And the way that I recommend making content and getting started is just try to help the younger version of yourself, right? So think back to all the problems that the younger version of yourself had. And then make videos to help that younger version of yourself solve those problems as fast as possible, right? So that is literally the easiest way to make content and the easiest way to think of your videos is to just literally just try to help the younger version of yourself. Like, what advice would you give to the younger version of yourself? What channels and videos did you wish were on YouTube when you were that age? And then make those videos. And that is exactly what I did. And by the way, you don't have to be positive here. You can make videos about quote unquote negative things. When life gives you lemons, you can make lemonade. And that's exactly what I did. I basically made videos complaining about the college system in the US. And at that time, and this is what's really interesting looking back, I look back on myself then and I was a very negative person, right? So at the time I was quite negative because I was really jaded by the college system in the US, where I got multiple 6 figures in student loan debt. because I felt like I had to do that to get out of poverty, right? Because I grew up really poor, and then I felt like I had to get a super expensive degree so that I could, get into the middle class, right? And that's what I did. I was pretty jaded about the entire experience because it was not the best experience in the world, especially when you learn that, people in Europe get college degrees either for free or for extremely affordable prices, pretty much all over the world, except for the US. College degrees are pretty affordable. Because if you think about it, it's like you want your country to be educated, right? So they make sure that people can get college degrees pretty easily in almost any other place in the world. And so I just made videos complaining about college degrees. For instance, my first video that really took off was top 5 college degrees, my first video that really took off was the most useless degrees. And then after that, I made a little bit more of a positive video, top 5 college degrees that are actually worth it. Both of those ended up getting millions of views. But really, they were both me just kind of complaining about college degrees and kind of like complaining and then, giving some constructive criticism and some advice to the younger version of myself, essentially. Right. And those videos took off, got millions of views, and basically started my YouTube career. And the truth is, like, you don't have to talk about that necessarily. You can talk about just about anything, and there's going to be an audience for it. So if you want to talk about things that you struggled with in your life, that's a good place to start. But you could also talk about things that you're passionate about. Talk about things that, you've been studying your entire life, and you can definitely make money from that as well. And again, even if you don't make money, it's great for self-development, and it's great for networking. And you meet people and they see that you have this channel and you have some cool videos, and it's just a cool thing to have, right? It's super creative and artistic too. So there's really an audience for every topic out there, and you just have to make videos for that audience, because there's people constantly searching on YouTube. And I mean, YouTube, there's basically a loneliness epidemic right now. And the way that people kind of try to overcome that loneliness a lot of the time is by watching YouTube, right? Because if you're watching Netflix or if you're watching TV, they're super high production value, and it's just not authentic, right? It doesn't feel like you're talking to another person. Whereas if you watch YouTube, a lot of the time, that's exactly what you get. You get that feeling like you're talking to another human being. And so that is one of the most valuable parts about YouTube, is you can basically just make videos expressing yourself, make artistic videos, and there's a pretty good chance at some point that you could end up monetizing your channel, at the very least, making a nice side hustle income, or making a full income, or quitting your job, or starting businesses from YouTube. And, just going back to those common fears that I talked about at the beginning, right? No one watches, rude comments, other people finding out about things. First of all, you don't have to tell anybody about your channel. Just as an example, I didn't tell anybody about my channel except for my brother until I think 2 years in, something like that, 2-3 years in. I told one of my best friends, and then another friend, and then, that kind of thing. And believe it or not, even though it was like, I think 2 years in and I had over 100,000 subscribers, nobody knew, right? Not a single person in my life knew about my channel, because I don't know why, but I guess it didn't show it locally, or, the people that, I had in my life wasn't the target demographic. And so nobody knew, right? There's a lot of people in the world. And even if your video gets 100,000 views, chances are none of the people are going to be the 100,000 views that see the video, right? There's 8 billion people in the world. So it's not a big deal to make YouTube videos. And even if people do see it, it's not a big deal. Now I do get people messaging me once in a while, like, wow, people I went to school with, friends, family members, they message me once in a while. Wow, I just saw your video pop up on YouTube. And it's not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. Nothing bad has ever happened from it. But if you really want to keep it a secret, you totally can. It's not a big deal at all. And if no one watches, then no one watches. Like I said, it's still really great for self-development and expressing yourself artistically. And if you get some rude comments, you can just delete them if you want. Or just leave them there, because most of the time, if you leave them there, other people will actually start arguing with the first person, which gets more engagement on your video, which makes YouTube promote it more, and then you get more views. So most of the time, it's actually just not even necessary for you to delete comments. And actually, it's a sign, if you're getting rude comments, it's a sign that they're showing your video to a new audience. So that's actually a good sign if you're starting to get rude comments. But yeah, it's just another thing where it's not a big deal at all. And I will say, YouTube isn't all, butterflies and rainbows, right? It does take a lot of time and effort, especially when you're first starting. It's not the easiest thing in the world to make videos, especially when you don't know what you're doing. You don't really have a system. And so, I did put together basically some free resources on how you can make videos, like a really cheap and easy startup guide. You can just use your phone. You can even just use the mic from your phone. There's actually AI that you can use to make your audio sound better. So you can enhance your audio to the point where it almost sounds like a professional mic. Adobe Podcast, for instance, I put all that in the guide, and I'll put that down in the description in the pinned comment below. You can check it out. But yeah, it's just a no-brainer. Like, you should start on YouTube. I saw a survey from Gen Z where they basically asked younger people what career they want to do when they grow up. And YouTuber was number one. It was literally number one, right? So it was above sports star, pop star, actor, lawyer, doctor, everything. It was above all of those other ones. It was number one. And I can see why. The lifestyle that it affords you is great. I've been able to travel the world because of my YouTube channel and have like a relatively passive business. I took 2 months off, for instance, to go hang out with my family and go to a business conference. And in that entire 2 months, I only spent 8 hours on my YouTube channel. So it was literally like 1 hour per week. And the channel actually grew, right? It was actually growing faster than when I was actively running it, which is crazy. And so, yeah, I can see why a lot of people want to be YouTubers. And I think that YouTube is the future. I think that it connects people instead of dividing people, which I think is great. I think it allows people to express their opinion. It allows, the truth to come to light. Even if you're just expressing your opinion, maybe you're wrong, but then other people could make another video reacting to your video, or people are going to comment on your video. And at the end of the day, we get closer and closer to the truth. So it's just a great way of expressing yourself, expressing your opinion, giving different perspectives and points of view. And, YouTube is the best thing that's ever happened to me. I've learned almost everything on YouTube, and I've helped a ton of people get remote jobs, for instance, on my main channel on YouTube. And I just think it's a really wonderful thing. So I think you should absolutely start a YouTube channel. Even if you just pull your phone out right now, I recommend doing this. I don't have my phone with me right now, but pull your phone out right now, put it up, and just record your first video and upload it to YouTube, right? If you've been thinking about starting YouTube for a long time, which I know a lot of people have, because it's the most popular career for young people, just pull your phone out and start YouTube right now. And then another thing is, if you're an older person watching this, I actually think there's more opportunity for you than there is for younger people, because most of the people uploading to YouTube are young. And so there's a supply and demand imbalance. So if you're an older person, if you can figure the tech part out, which honestly isn't that hard to figure out, it's going to be a lot easier for you to get views. We've seen a lot of people, for instance, make what I like to call wisdom content, where it's like grandpas on a farm or on a ranch, and they basically just set up their camera. Again, it's just a phone, and they just start recording. No edits, no cuts. They upload it to YouTube, gets hundreds of thousands, millions of views, right? So if you're an older person, it's actually, I think there's actually more opportunity for you. And if you think about it, older people in the US, 50 and above, have like 90% of the wealth, right? So they're going to be more likely to be able to buy stuff, and they're going to relate to you because you're an older person, right? So yeah, just start right now, pull out your phone, record your first video, and then comment down below if you did it. I want to see some comments from people who finally took that step of recording themselves and uploading their first video down below, right? I want you to be that person who does this. And then years from now, if you have a successful channel, want you to come back to this video and comment that you actually did it and you were able to start a successful channel. All right. That's my message for the day. Have a good one.